Welcome to Volume 11 Rocktalk Podcast, brought to you by Volume 11 Music. Your hosts, Rich Hoffa, Rik Lawhorne, and Mark Dunn. Rocktalk, Volume 11 Music.
Hey, how's it going? This is Rocktalk at Volume 11 Music in Fredericksburg, Virginia. I'm Rich.
Rik Lawhorne.
Mark Dunn.
Hey, and today...
How rich are you?
Yeah. Not very. You guys need to buy some stuff.
That's right, we're doing a sale.
I wrap my life into the store, so you guys got to buy some stuff. You know, let's put some turkey on the table for Thursday.
That's right.
But, yeah, exactly. So this week we're going to talk about what makes a good song and what makes a good album, and something about how bands have changed over the years. Some for the good, some for the not so good. But before that, we want to do a little bit of housekeeping. Our new website is up and live and running. I've got to continually add inventory to it. So we're starting off with the big stuff, the guitars, the basses, the drums, that type of stuff first, and then it'll trickle down to accessories and strings and sticks and things like that. Everything will be real time, so each night it'll be updated, so the inventory levels will be totally up to date. You know exactly what we have in stock and all that. This is our 3rd year anniversary here at Volume 11 Music. So we got Thanksgiving coming up this week. Or next week is next week's Thanksgiving.
Next Thursday,
yeah, next Thursday's Thanksgiving, and on Friday and Saturday we're going to have a 3-year anniversary sale. We're already doing the 15% off of PRS SE model guitars. We're going to do everything else is going to be anywhere from 10 to 15% off as well. Stop on by and grab a great deal right before Christmas. And if you buy a new guitar, like we do every year, we're going to throw in a lesson with Rik or Mark.
I've still got to get my lesson from Rik on the new guitar.
That's right. So one lesson free if you buy it. And I tell you what we're going to do too is if you buy a new guitar between now and Christmas from us, I'll set it up. We'll do a free setup as well. So
and in the first lesson, they learn the first note to Satisfaction by the Stones.
Yeah, there you go. First note, and that's
the first note.
That's it.
And then you get the first 2 notes of Smoke on the
Here's
Water.
the first note. Let it be, let it be.
All right, mini free lesson there.
All right, so we're going to break into what makes a great album, or
we're going to do songs here. We got a lot to talk about.
All right,
stuff.
So Rik, since this is your idea, I will let you kick it off and kind of lead us into it.
All right.
I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning and flew here from the Great White North, so I'm a little off my game.
Right,
yeah,
talk Canadian
definitely accents up that way.
All right, eh?
Yeah.
All right, you know how they named Canada, right?
What's that?
The naming of Canada was just a bunch of guys standing around drinking beer, pulling letters out of that. C-A-N-A. Thank you. I'll be here all night.
All right.
Thank you very much.
So, so we're always, thinking, what can we talk about? We got a lot to talk about. What do we pick to talk about? So I thought it'd be kind of cool, like, we're musicians, and a lot of people out there play music or love music, like music. So what gets me excited about a song? So for me, as a kid getting into guitar playing, age late 12, 13-ish, probably things that had really catchy guitar riffs is what really excited me initially. So I remember just being a young kid, 1979, 1980, and anything that I heard on the radio could be like, Sweet Home Alabama by Leonard Skinner. That's got a really cool little guitar phrase. All the Van Halen stuff was pretty new back then. So hearing anything like You Really Got Me, which is actually an old Kinks song, of course, but Ain't Talking About Love. So that, for me, really gets a song going good. And obviously in rock music, you hear quite a bit of that. Even a lot of the pop songs back then did have a lot of good guitar in it. And sadly, with modern pop, it seems like there's so many virtual instruments that we don't really quite hear a lot of guitar hooks in, for the most part, in really big hit songs. But I want to just to kick this thing off, I'm going to start a good guitar hook for me. Again, I am a little subjective here because I am a guitar player. But then, and then other things, of course, catchy melodies, But I don't know, you guys want to add anything to that?
For me, when I was a kid, of course, we're all exposed to music, early, for the most part, relatively. I didn't really know what drew me to music, or to liking something. And a lot of times psychologically you just want to be included.
Right. Okay.
So you wind up going into the
Right.
oh, this is cool because everybody else likes it.
Yeah. No, I get it. Right.
And but I mean, like I think we talked about this on an earlier podcast where the Bee Gees was my first concert. And I don't know why I love the music, other than that it was just great.
Right. Sha-na-na, we talk about that too. Same thing. It's just fun.
Great
it's fun.
music. And so I think what happens is that when you decide that you like music or love music in general, for me, then as your ear starts to refine a little bit, you start to pick things out. I tell all my students that if they take music or guitar from me long enough, that I will completely ruin the way you listen to music. So, and it's a funny thing, but you start to pick it apart.
You deconstruct it,
Right. There's an autopsy on it real time. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I can listen to, I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about some of the stuff, but I can listen to records that have been out for 30, 40 years and almost always hear something new that I'd never heard before.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
You know, and that to me is the perpetual draw of listening to music in general, but much less a song.
Yeah.
If I could
find a
jump
new
on
way to
that,
love the same song.
If I could jump on that real quick, so just the other, I'm glad you said that. I pulled out Led Zeppelin 4, which I haven't listened to in years, but I love it. Obviously, it's the album that has Stairway
One
to
of
Heaven
their
on
least
it.
popular records.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Didn't sell many of those.
But you're right. I've heard this album, 10,000 times over the years since 1979 or whatever. And then for me, it came out in 71, I guess. And I was listening to all of Jimmy Page's brilliance, especially with the more acoustic-y things, the more Celtic-y kind of things.
Yeah.
And I knew it existed. It's not like I wasn't aware of that. But as a young kid, I was more into the drive and rock, rock and roll, Black Dog, especially the ending of
There's
Stairway to
something
Heaven.
interesting about that song on that record that we can talk about.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I went listening to the ones that had all the acoustic-y stuff in there. And I was like, I know it's great, but I never realized how brilliant some of that stuff going back at it. And like you just said, Mark, I'm hearing things that maybe back in 1983 I didn't really think about when I heard that. Or 1994 I might have pulled the album out. And now here it's 2024.
Don't you think that comes to as a product of our own perseverance in the craft, where our ears get tuned for stuff that's just glossed over?
Yeah,
it's almost like being a medical examiner on a tune where you're dissecting.
Right, you're dissecting the song. I never noticed that little dobro-y thing he's got. Or he's got this weird little slide thing he's doing.
Right.
I know it's in there, but I never really noticed it because Robert Plant's screaming out some crazy high note, And now it's like, man, that's just so brilliant the way that came together. It took me 32 years to discover it.
And Black Dog, here's how I ruined the way you listen to music. So when you listen to Black Dog, it's a call and answer song.
Yeah,
right.
Hey, mama said the way you move gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove. And it's in free time.
Yeah.
There's no counting.
Right.
That means John Bonham, the drummer, is not even kicking the hi-hat
There's
or
no
anything.
rhythm to follow.
So how do they come in together?
Where's the one?
Right. How do they come in together? If you now, when you listen to this podcast or watch this, go back and listen to the song. Right before ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, on his way to the snare, you hear Bonham click the sticks together. Here's one stick, here's the other one, to the snare. Duh.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
They're all standing around looking at each other, and you can
other.
hear the sticks click.
Yeah.
So there's, it's
And I've
just
talked to a lot of
interesting.
great drummer friends of mine over the years, and we also what's the time signature and all that? It's just crazy the way it just kind of flows.
Other than that, it's 4.
Well, it's 4,
That
but it's
part is
almost like
free time.
it's displaced feeling because of the freedom.
Yes.
Even I get what you're saying. It is 4, but it almost makes you think you're maybe in 5 or 7 or something, even though you're not.
Same with Over the Hills and
and
Far
I
Away.
was just saying that's got that same
That's
kind of
4/4.
flavor. I think you're right. It's 4/4, but it makes you almost think it's deceptive. Where's the 1 at?
Because he's strumming it differently.
Yeah.
And this is honestly, when I sat down to learn that song, because I actually was going to play it, I had played the proper parts incorrectly. So how do you play something properly incorrectly?
Right.
Because
We'll figure it out.
I had, we have these minds of parity or like, consistency. Da-da-da-da-da, it's not the same rhythm.
Right.
Until you got to tap your foot, but it's still in 4.
It's still in 4, so
Yeah.
he didn't put an odd bar like it's in 5, 4, 7, 8. It's still
Right.
4/4, but he almost kind of trips you up a little bit because of those phrasing elements.
Yeah, and that's the stuff that's like, wow. And he's
Yeah.
also way behind the beat on it.
Right. Yeah,
He's not on top of anything on that, and it's an
Yeah.
interesting example.
But those Zeppelin songs are just great. They've stood the test of time. Those songs were written in the early 70s. And
What's your favorite Zeppelin song?
Oh man, there's so many of them.
Mine's the Rain song.
Yeah, I love the Rain song. Boy, I go always, for me, and there's a reason why, but I'm going to go back to Heartbreaker. I love Robert Plant's just screaming vocals
Killing.
on that. I mean, crushing vocals. in that era, that was one of the heaviest guitar riffs of that era, with the distorted tone.
And a solo in the middle.
And I was just going to go there. The thing that I think that was like the first overdriven rock solo by itself, it's unaccompanied, in a studio song. I know there were live albums that were coming out from Hendrix and all that, but like in a studio song, the whole band stops and what do you got? Jimmy Page. And then he's just ripping. And again, for that era, I mean, that was, some great rock playing. It kind of influenced and inspired so many of the players that came out in the 70s and the 80s after that. It was still the late 60s.
Where Eddie got tapping from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. The Eddie story of Van Halen, where he was watching him at the LA Forum, I think, and kind of said, hey, he's doing his thing. Well, let me take my right hand and start doing that. And, of course, then Eddie becomes Eddie.
I think Jimmy Page on stage that night at the Forum with an unknown Eddie Van Halen in the audience looked around and said, I feel a disturbance in the force.
Right. This is kid, man. He's going to take over the world, Yeah, I could imagine. I think that was like in 71 out in the LA Forum, if I remember the story correctly. But yeah, you're right. What do you got, Rich?
Well, it's my musical taste, of course my dad was a musician. So I really grew up to, 50s music.
Yeah, early
Elvis
50s rock and roll.
Listening to Chuck Berry, loved Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Mitch Ryder and the Detroit
that's
Wheels.
fun stuff.
I love Mitch Ryder. And that kind of stuff. So, for me, it was kind of, and we came, around the same, listening to music. By myself, I got into, the Osmonds. We watched the Osmond show, so I watched the Osmonds and stuff like that.
But
and I think it was, it's right in 79, 80, of course. Then I got, I got Back in Black, and I got to, Van Halen.
And the songs are catchy
and all that stuff, and they're fun and they're catchy. And I think that, I really started gravitating. A lot of it too. We lived in a neighborhood that was not close to town, so we'd hit these back roads. And my mom, she would drive really fast when the Eddie Rabbit came on, taking my life away. So songs that you could tap your foot to and bounce your head to. So
and they stick with you.
They do. And I like nothing more than sitting there and hearing a song and then just going. You can shake your head. It's something you can move to, and it's got a really good, really good beat. And then I like songs with a real heavy backbeat. I mean, some of the power ballads that came out in the 80s, they're really powerful.
The most non-metal thing in the world.
But we're going to make it into metal.
Exactly. And they make it metal, and it's just like, the force and all that stuff. But yeah, it's I like stuff that's got that's got a good hook to it, a good melody.
What was the first power ballad in that? Would you all say?
Power ballad?
Yeah, I think it was Def Leppard, Bringing On the Heartbreak. That kind of fit the bill.
Exactly.
I don't know, who was that dude for Steelheart? I'll Never Let You Go.
But that was later down the line. We actually opened for Steelheart back when I was with Calamity Jane years ago. Yeah. And he hit all those notes high. I mean, live.
Yeah, but you had Home Sweet Home.
Yeah, Motley Crue. That was a big one.
Don't Close Your Eyes by Kix. I mean, there was a lot of really good.
Cinderella, Nobody's Fool. That was cool.
Yeah, I covered that.
Yeah, we did that with.
You can tell an album though, or even a song if you take it down. But let's take Back in Black,
right?
Because when you said that, I started thinking about we're in the AI age,
right?
Yeah.
So you know how I'm being subjective here, but this is a funny pretense. What if you took AI and you got Hank Williams,
right,
to sing Back in Black?
Yeah.
And this is how you know it's an awesome record.
Okay.
Because that would probably be legit.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The songs are that good.
Yeah.
But I'll do this. I won't go the opposite on that one. So I know this is Rich's favorite song, The Final Countdown by Europe. I'm being sarcastic. Rich does not like that song.
No, I don't.
Right?
Buy it for him for Christmas.
I don't.
But true story, he just doesn't like it. It's just I mean, I know a lot of people love it, but it comes on here and Rich.
There's a couple.
That's one, though.
That's one, and then
I want to go somewhere with that in a second.
Yeah, go ahead. But there's just a couple that just, I don't know what it is, but it's like somebody took an ice pick and stuck it in my eye every time it comes on. I don't like it.
About a month ago, here's where I'm going. So The Final Countdown. Somebody did an AI version with Freddie Mercury of
That's
Queen.
Probably amazing.
It blew my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounded like powerhouse Freddie Mercury singing at Wembley Stadium, strong and hard, hitting every note as hard as he could hit it. And it was the coolest thing ever. I was like, man, if that song came out and Queen had done it in 1986 like that, it would have been one of the coolest songs in that era, you know. But so the point being, it was kind of cheesy, like you said, with the original version, and then you hear the AI, at least in my opinion, the AI version with the Freddie Mercury rock vocal, where he's singing really high and strong and powerful.
It's probably amazing,
and it was like mind blowing. You know, for me, I thought it was incredible.
Yeah.
So,
and you know, that's the power that symphonies have today, playing music that was written, you know, in the 15, 16, 17, 1800s. Because they didn't have a singer ruin it originally.
That's a great way to put it. Because I've heard a lot of people say, I heard the vocals, man, I can't stand the singer. The music's great, but the singer's
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I remember growing up, and a lot of friends I had with Rush, they're like, the music's amazing, but man, Geddy Lee's is like Daffy Duck on helium, you know. I like a lot of their music, and I you know, it's like something. But that's somebody said it to me once. Daffy Duck, if he sucked on a helium balloon, that's kind of how the vocals are. But those musical parts are just brilliant on those albums.
Right.
Oh, for sure. You know, so the topic here was what
songs and what makes. Why do we like a song? Why don't we like a song?
You know? I also think that once you get a more of a refined ear past just liking a melody, and it's the ability to remember something quickly. Mm-hmm. That causes us to have an affinity for it. Even bad stuff. You don't have to have an affinity for bad things, but you can see it or hear it.
Yeah.
So there's earworms that are, you know, we like or don't like, right?
Yeah.
But I think after that, a song, I didn't understand that there was a difference in quality of how something was recorded.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I totally do, yeah.
So when you would hear, and this is not a slam to Metallica, so nobody needs to get
hate mail towards
but like when Kill 'Em All came out, all my friends were losing their minds over it. I'm going, have you guys heard Fair Warning?
You're right.
Like, what are you talking about?
Eddie and the production.
So for me,
phenomenal.
the music itself was lost on the fact that
the production was,
comparatively speaking to the other music I was listening to, Kill 'Em All sounded like a bad demo.
Yeah.
And essentially it is. It's what they had the budget for, which was what, $5K?
Yeah.
You know, at the time.
Yeah.
And then later on, they do Saint Anger, where it sounds like he's beating on a coffee can on the drums.
Some of that's on purpose. They
were trying to do that, the
then,
new metal thing at the time, but it did. It's like you got a Folgers cup, boing, boing,
and
boing.
Anybody that might take exception with me pointing out Metallica, listen to Kill 'Em All, then listen to Ride the Lightning, and then listen to Master of Puppets, and you can hear the budget and the personnel recording the albums increase in quality.
And of course, those are classic metal albums now.
For
when
sure.
you get into Master of Puppets, and I think it's a brilliant album. And that
but objectively speaking, that sounds like a completely different band than Kill 'Em All.
I've said that too, Mark, and you know, with some of the people I've talked with, that you're right. I mean, the first album, you know, it's got that energy to it, which people love, but the production's kind of like they were in a coffee can recording it. But then those other ones, it's like, wow. You know, intense rhythms, intense songs. They've really kind of blew open the door. Yeah, they got money to work with. Production's a lot better. You know, and
higher
again,
quality substances in the studio.
And they've stood the test of time with the metal.
Yeah, and it's kind of too like when you talk about MTV and the visual aspect of it too, because I remember, you know, I used to like the video of Eminence Front.
Oh yeah, from the Who.
I love the song.
I don't know what the video is for that.
And it's well, I don't remember the video, but I remember how much I liked the song.
They were on tour, and they would get off the little plane and go to the concert. Yeah, I remember it though.
Bass player and stuff. So I went and bought the record, and then I'm listening to it, and I'm going, it just didn't have the same effect to it. I didn't really enjoy the song listening to it
without the video.
Without the video,
a visual narration of the music.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a good example too.
So I really liked the video. I liked listening to the song, but then when it was separated, I'm just listening to the song. It didn't have the same thing to me as it did when you're watching it with the video. So but
I never thought about it like that. There's probably some songs that I would not have ever given a second chance had I not seen the video.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But to Metallica, they weren't on MTV.
They didn't do videos for the first 3 albums.
They didn't even do any?
No, it wasn't until they did one off of and everybody said, "Wow, Metallica's got a real video. It's going to be on MTV."
And half of that was from an old movie.
It was right. So they actually were kind of like, "Nope, we're not doing any videos. We're just putting out the album. We're going to go out on tour and open up for Ozzy and all that." And of course, they obviously
anti-establishment.
And it wasn't until that 4th studio album where they finally said, "All right, we're going to do a legitimate MTV style."
And that album sounded like I mean, it's classic now, but it was
unusual. I thought
compared to Master of
sounding.
Puppets, it was like a little bit.
Because you don't even hear the bass in it. You know,
No,
it's like
it's
the
very
bass,
clicky.
and I mean, it worked. It sold millions, of course, but it was kind of weird coming off of like you said when they had the full album, of course, right before Cliff died with Master of Puppets, and that was just done so well for that.
And I go
style.
back now, and I was a hater then. I'll admit it. Because I didn't understand the difference in the quality of how something could be recorded.
Yeah.
I thought if you had a record deal and your album was in the store,
Right.
There's
Sound like Foreigner or something, right?
Right, yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like you're on a
Journey
level.
album.
So as an I'll just say I was ignorant. I just wasn't aware of why things would sound different. And I go back now and I listen to. I like to teach Metallica songs because as a guitar player, you get a lot of repetition on a theme.
Yeah.
And students will play along to
get that riff.
16 bars of Seek and Destroy.
Yeah, right.
And it's a lot, and it's cool.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
a
just-
great. Love that song.
Yeah, and to me they were like, I mean, when I go back and listen to them now, my point in this is that I have a lot more respect for what they did than I did in the moment because I was directly comparing it to releases at the time that just. Whether you like the music or not, it was recorded.
But also, thrash and speed metal was so new at that time that the norms hadn't really been established. Like it is a different kind of production than a Journey album.
For sure.
You know, I
but
mean-
the Journey album, I mean, the bottom line is the common denominator is studio, microphones, engineer, mixing console, tape.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And so,
The tape
and
days.
now, I mean, those are, we all know because we've recorded, we're young, but we're old enough to record on tape. That process is alchemic. Like it's you're chasing something that's different every time you do it. And now with digital recording, it's almost like it's a hyper technology because you want to use today's technology, which is infinite in its capability to cover up mistakes, but to also make it sound like it's from '82.
Yeah. Right, that kind of retro thing.
And that's
old
the
school.
kind of, it is funny because with all the digital stuff, they're bringing out all the digital stuff to sound like it did back then.
Yeah, right.
It's like when VHS people were able to start recording like videos, cheaper, lower end videos on beta cams or using videotape, not film.
Right.
Then as computers came into the realm, there became like probably one of the first plugins for videography was called Film Look, and you would run your thing to make it look like it was on film. So it's that whole like, let's give the people what they're used to with new technology.
Right.
Which at the end of the day, if I would love to do another record on 24-track 2-inch tape. That would be so much fun because that's how I record digitally now. I pretend as though I'm playing the tape.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Very
right.
interesting.
You got to be able to play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's a lot of great commentary on this. And we'll bring this up again because I mean
We can go on and on.
We
and on
can
with
go
so many
on and on and
examples,
on
so many
for
bands and
weeks on
songs.
this.
Yeah, it's
but
a great fun topic.
so that is this week's episode of
Where are you playing?
Rocktalk.
So
Yeah,
I'm
where you
on
playing?
my Animal Club tour.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, I play a lot
Each
of
side
places.
of
And they're
town.
fun. These are
You got
fun
one
gigs,
over
but
on this side of town, one on this side of
They're
town.
named
one
after
on this
animals.
side.
Not a ditty party.
There's
It's-
no. No, so there's an Eagles, there's a Moose, there's an Elks. We play places that have the word Buffalo in there. There's the Bearded Monkey. So they all have the names of an animal. So we jokingly call them animal clubs because they have the name of an animal. So we are continuing that tradition. So this Saturday, my band Cactus Jack, we're at the Bealeton, close to Warrenton. The Bealeton Eagles. This will be our first time. They've come out and seen us. They love the band. So we have very nice people. It's going to be a fun time. And again, Cactus Jack, we do a mixture of a lot of southerny rock, like Leonard Skinner's, ZZ Top, Texas blues rock, a lot of country. We do anything Brooks and Dunn, Travis Tritt, Hank Jr. Just a fun, good time band. And again, that's Cactus Jack at the Bealeton Eagles this Saturday night, 8 o'clock.
That's down 17, right?
17, just keep on
I'm getting my lay of the land here.
Yeah, right.
I drive past it. And I'm Saturday. I'm 3 to 6 at the Estates at Whitehall.
Oh,
17.
yeah.
Solo acoustic. And then can you get me in to the Eagle?
I can't because I'm not a member, which is weird. I know, isn't that strange? I can talk to somebody else though, because you got to be like a member to sign. It's a weird rule.
Well, look, I'll just
Carry
knock
some
on, I'll knock on the back
Tell you-
door. They'll be like, "What's the password?" Fly like an eagle.
Yeah, right. There you go.
And then Tuesday, actually, I'm before we do the next one, I'm going to be playing a cool show in Virginia Beach at Elevation 27. Last
Oh.
Fair Deal is a Grateful Dead kind of tribute
Cool.
band, and they're doing The Last Waltz.
Yeah, The Last Waltz.
So
Great stuff. All right.
they're having a bunch of cool guests to come up and like the movie
Yep.
from the band
Yep,
had a
the
bunch
band.
of guest performers: Joni Mitchell, Eric Clapton, Neil Young, Dr. John. So I'm going up and doing the Clapton tunes with
Wow.
for that. That should be a lot of fun.
Nice.
That's
nice.
great, man. Good stuff. And then it's Thanksgiving, so we're going to wish
we're-
everybody
we'll-
a happy
yeah,
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we're going to skip. We
Thanksgiving.
won't be around
Yeah.
next week for Thanksgiving.
But
so
we'll see you
catch
here
up.
Friday to save money and get free lesson when you buy a guitar.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're gonna teach you
exactly.
that first
Come in
two
and buy a lot of
notes,
stuff. We
smoke
want
on the water.
to empty the shelves in here. This
We
this
got to keep
holiday.
rich.
Yeah. Rock and roll, baby. It's rock and roll. Yeah.
That's it. So that concludes this week's episode of Rock Talk. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like the video. It really helps out the channel a lot. And we'll see you next week. Have a great one.
Yep.
This has been an episode of Volume 11 Rock Talk Podcast, brought to you by Volume 11 Music.